Hi everyone, welcome to week 2 of our probability unit. And this week we are actually getting into calculating probability. So first of all, quick definition of probability, and that is the chance that an event will occur. And this is something that you guys are pretty familiar with. So for example, when you watch the news and they talk about a 30% chance of rain, that's the probability that it will rain that day. So today we aren't actually calculating probability, we're just going to be getting familiar with ways that we can express different probabilities. So there are 3 numeric ways that probability is generally expressed, and those are fractions, decimals, and percents. So we're going to learn how to convert between those 3 forms. Example A, we are given the fraction 2/3, and we're being asked to convert it to both a decimal and a percent. So the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite my fraction vertically instead of horizontally. And this bar right here tells us exactly what to do to get that converted to a decimal. That bar means divide. So what we'll do is we'll take our calculator and we'll do 2 divided by 3, and that will give us the decimal form. Now this gives us 0.6666666, repeating. So I think most of you guys know that when you put the bar above the number, that symbolizes that it's repeating. If you can give an exact answer for these, please do so. Otherwise, round to at least 2 decimal places. So another option would be if you're rounding, you use those wavy equal signs. Those mean approximately equal to, and you could put 0.67 instead. So those are 2 different options for the decimal form. So what I'm going to have you do is over in that left-hand column, to convert from a fraction to a decimal, we divide. All right, so to convert from a decimal to a percent, we'll stay in that left-hand column. So from the decimal to the percent, what we do is we multiply by 100. The definition for percent is literally a ratio of a number to 100. So we're comparing our number to 100. So take that decimal, 0.67, multiply by 100. Because this is my rounded decimal, I'm still going to use those approximately equal to symbols, 67%. Now if you wanted to convert that exact decimal to a percent, you would do 0.66. Knowing that it repeats, you're still multiplying by 100, or you're moving that decimal 2 places to the right. So it would be 66.6 repeating percent would be the exact value. Next, we're going to convert a decimal to a fraction. So to convert, I'm going to go off to that left-hand column again and write myself a little note. To convert from that decimal to the fraction, we need to use place value. So this changes depending on the place value for each decimal. As a reminder, the number after the decimal point is in the 10th place, and then the next one is in the 100th place. After that would be the 1000th place, and so on. So we have the number 13 hundredths. So we literally write it as 13 out of 100, and that's how we get the fraction. I would like you to check to make sure that your fraction is in simplest form. In this case, 13 over 100 is simplified. Depending on the calculator you have access to, it will simplify for you. For example, if you have one of these calculators, this ABC button right here, I'll try and zoom in on that for you. If you use that button, you can type in the fraction. So I would type in 13, and then I would hit that ABC button 100. So I'll try and show you the screen here. And then when I hit equals, you'll see that it gives me the same answer. That's because 13 out of 100 is already in simplest form. If it weren't, it would have given me the simplified answer. All right, and then next we're going to convert it to a percent. So we've already seen this. To convert the decimal to a percent, we multiply by 100. So we get 13%. For our last example, we're starting with a percent and converting to, I'm going to convert to a decimal first. And because when we convert from the decimal to the percent, we multiply by 100, To get from the percent to the decimal, we divide by 100. So I'm going to take 7 divided by 100, and that gives me 0.07 as a decimal. Another option, just like multiplying by 100 moves the decimal 2 places to the right, dividing by 100 moves that decimal 2 places to the left. And then converting that decimal to a fraction, we actually already have that because we set it up as division by 100. So there's our fraction. And then the only other thing we would do is see if it would simplify. And 7 over 100 is already in simplest form. These next 2 pages are actually screenshots from your assignment. So I'm going to explain what you're doing on the second page of your assignment. We're going to talk about different probability words and roughly what probability that represents. So this first example is having you list events that might rarely happen, sometimes happen, or usually happen. So I have an event listed for you. It rarely snows in May. If you look down below, I placed that on our probability line. I thought that snow in May happens a little bit less than 10% of the time. So probably 1 out of every 8 or 9 years it'll snow in May was what I was thinking with where I placed that A down there. Sometimes happens. Test on Friday. Now this is a little bit different with our distance learning. We've been quizzing each week. However, normally I figured it was about a 35% chance that we would end up with a test on a Friday. And usually happens sunrises in the morning. Well, so far the sun has risen every morning for the last who knows how many thousands of years. So I put that at 100% chance of happening. So now what I want you guys to do is come up with 6 other events that either rarely, sometimes, or usually happen, and then place those letters on the probability chart below where they fit with what you're thinking about them. There's really no right or wrong answers on these. It's just a chance to practice some different conceptual ideas behind the notion of probability. I'm going to come up with one more for you as an example. With this distance learning, something that usually happens is Mrs. Lore grades. So basically what my job has become is grading your assignments and providing that feedback. Now I do that every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends. So I would say for my letter H that that's right around an 80% chance that on a given day I will be grading work for you. And again, this is also a screenshot from your assignment. So the last piece that you're being asked to do is, again, think about some of these words and the numeric probability that might be associated with it. So I'm going to pick 3 words on this list to put on the number line for you, and then I'm going to have you finish that up on your assignment. I'm going to start off with the word never. Never means it is not going to happen, so that would be a 0% chance. So I'm going to put that right above the 0. Now, just like on the last one, they don't have to go exactly over a 30% or a 40%. Maybe you think it means 45% or 32%. So for example, frequently, looking at letter I here, frequently means almost always. So to me, that means like an 85% chance of happening. Now, if you put it a little bit higher or a little bit lower, that's okay, as long as you have it in the correct general area. Let's take a look at one more. Occasionally. To me, that means less than a 50% chance of happening. So occasionally might be like a 25% chance of happening. So that's where I'm thinking I might put that. All right, so I'll have you guys finish this up. Again, any questions, please reach out to me and let me know. Hope you have a great day. Take care, guys.